Hey there. So today we are going to be talking about the good and the bad of Salt Lake City. Yes, the good and the bad of Salt Lake City. It wasn't that long ago before my family and I decided that we were going to make a move out here to Salt Lake City. And I literally remember talking with my husband and I was like, okay, well, here are some of my pros, here are some of my cons. What do you think? Is it going to work for our family? Is it not? Well, today we're going to hop right into some of the good, some of the bad, and everything in between. Let's hop into it. Mariah Koehle here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your very first time here. I'm a licensed and active real estate agent here in the Salt Lake City, Utah area, and this channel is literally everything you need to know about eating, working, playing, sleeping, and living in the Salt Lake City, Utah area. If that is of interest to you, consider subscribing down below and make sure you tap that bell for notifications so you are notified every week we drop a new video. We hear from people like you all the time who are looking to make a move, who are looking to relocate, buy, or sell a property here in Utah, and we absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about making a move in a week, in a month, or even a year from now, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and it would be our pleasure to connect with you. So like I said, it wasn't that long ago before my husband and I made a move out here. It actually has been a little over 3 years, which seems like it has flown by. And my kids and I, we still talk regularly like, hey, you guys still liking it here? Like, what do you think? What are the good? What are the bad? Well, today I'm going to be sharing with you some of the good, some of the bad, and everything in between. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them down below. And I hear from people like you all the time, and I absolutely love it. So let's hop right into it. Number one is simply the beauty. The beauty here in Salt Lake is, for me, second to none. I drive around and just seeing the mountains, seeing the open space, seeing the land that's out, it just brings me so much joy. And I know, when I'm driving around, I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, look at the mountains, look how pretty they are. My kids are literally like every day, Mom, you say that every single day. I'm like, I know, but it's true. The natural beauty that is here in Utah is phenomenal, which leads me right into number two. Like I said, the natural beauty, but number two is simply the outdoor recreation. The outdoor recreation here is huge. I played college soccer. I love being active and, into everything. And so the outdoor recreation here in Utah has been so fun. And there are literally things that you can do all year long, even when it's snowing. And I know some people are like, oh, well, it snows and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And even if you are not a skier, even if you're not a snowboarder, even if you don't like the snow, many people I know come out here and they're like, oh, you know what, Mariah? I am a tennis fanatic and I play tennis all year long here because there are indoor tennis courts that people can be playing on all year long. There are indoor pickleball courts. There are indoor soccer facilities. There are indoor swimming pools. Literally everything that you'd be doing outside, not everything, but you know what I mean. Like, for the most part, a lot of recreational things, not only will they provide it outdoor, but they also will provide that indoor. So number two is simply the recreation here is unbelievable. And I know for me, growing up in Northern California, I remember when winter hit, it usually did not snow where I lived because I lived about 45 minutes north of San Francisco. But I remember it's like we had a long rainy season. And during that long rainy season, I'm telling you, we would go, into the gyms and we'd play soccer in the gyms, but a lot of things were still outdoor and we'd be playing similar to Oregon. We'd be playing outside and you're just getting poured, dumped on, and the fields are getting kind of all trashed. Here, yes, people are still playing outside sometimes, but also a lot of people move those activities indoor. So number two is the sports and recreation here, huge. Number three, moving right along, family friendly. Yes, there's a huge sense of community here in Utah. There is a huge welcoming of family, children, you name it. And there's so many different activities that lend itself so nicely for that. The different festivals, the different parades, the different 5K races, the different 10K races, the different mile fun runs for kids. During the fall, the pumpkin patches are so fun, and just all of the, the hay rides and all the things that lend itself for community, for family, for recreation is incredible. Moving right along, let's talk about taxes. Yes, taxes here used to be 4.95%. Yes, 4.95%, but then it got reduced down to 4.85%. Recently, it got reduced down to 4.65%. Yes, 4.65%. And that is a flat tax. So no matter how much you make, it is going to be taxed at 4.65% as I'm shooting this video. So for some that are moving here, they're like, oh my gosh, they start doing the math. We actually recently just had some friends that moved from California, and they were like, Mariah, our paycheck is this much more than it was before in California. And he's like, I can work remotely, and I'm, I'm making the same amount of money. Like, my salary is the same, but because the taxes here, he's like, I can't even believe how much more I'm making here than I was making there simply because of taxes. So for some, that makes a big difference. Also, property taxes here, if it is your primary residence, you get a 50% discount. So typically, property taxes are about 1%. Yes, 1%. And if it is your primary residence, you will be paying about half of that. So about 0.50% on your property taxes. So again, for many people that are moving here, they're going, oh my gosh, they're doing the math, and they're like, wow, this really makes sense. For other people that are living in some states that don't have a state income tax or a property tax, some of those different things, for them it may not make sense, but for others, taxes is a big deal and makes a lot of sense. Which, moving right on to the next one, let's talk about jobs here in Utah. We have a very, very low unemployment rate. So for many people that are coming out here, they're going, oh my gosh, I've been looking for work. I'm in construction, I'm in finance, I'm in education, I'm in all these different spaces. And because the low, such a low unemployment rate, there are a lot of different jobs here. If you are into, skiing and snowboarding and all of that too, especially in the wintertime, it seems like these ski resorts are desperate for people to be working, on the chairlifts or ski instructors, all those different things, because there's just not enough people to be able to do that. So lots of jobs here in Utah. Another pro for people moving here to Utah is low crime rate. Yes, low crime rate. I've talked a lot about, being family friendly, but I know a lot of families that are moving here is simply because they're like, Mariah, we feel safe here. We love having, raising our kids here. And for the most part, like, things just feel safe. Yes, of course you want to be cautious and careful and all of that, but relatively compared to the national average, Utah has a low crime rate. Moving right along, let's talk about educational opportunities. If you are looking at higher education, collegiate level stuff, there are so many different universities in and around Salt Lake City. You've got University of Utah, which is right downtown in Salt Lake City. You've got Westminster there. You've got Weber State, that's just a little bit north of Salt Lake City. If you keep going a couple hours north of Salt Lake City, you've got Utah State, which is in Logan. If you come down south past Salt Lake City, you're going to move right into Provo-Orem area. You've got the Utah Valley University. You've got Brigham Young University. Lots in the way of universities here in Utah. There is Utah Tech, which, if you keep going down to southern Utah, Utah Tech is down there. So lots in the way of higher level education. If you're looking at high school, middle school, elementary, so many different options to choose from. There's the private route, there's the public route, there's the charter school route. There's so, if you want to go the homeschool route, I've had several people reach out lately that are like, Mariah, I've been homeschooling my kids for the last 5 years. And, are there any like homeschool kind of co-ops or supports for that? Yes, yes, and yes. So if you're looking at education, there are so many different, options for education here in Utah. All right, so let's talk about some of the bad. I know we've talked about the good. Let's move into some of the bad. Some of the bad that you should probably know, and again, this bad for some people is not that bad, but you still should know about it. And I talk about these different things, so just to front load you so that you have all the information. So number one, I know I talk about this one a lot too, but it is air quality. Yes, air quality in Salt Lake City, for some people who have respiratory issues, it can be a factor during, some different times during the year. Basically, a thick smog kind of comes into that valley. It sits there and it doesn't get blown out until there's usually a storm. It usually lasts a couple of days, but those couple of days, some people are like, even those couple of days is really, really hard. So just know that with the air quality. Number two is the weather. Yes, the winters here can be long. Yes, we still get a lot of sunny days even during the winter, but just know it can start snowing at the end of October, And in fact, this year it actually snowed in September in the mountains. So just know that, not down here, but in the mountains, it snowed in September. So just know that that snow, and usually it will stop snowing consistently around April, but usually you'll get another like snow flurry or two in May, occasionally even in June as well. So just know the weather. If you're not into the snow or you can't handle the snow, my kids like to joke with my parents because my dad sometimes like, oh yeah, no, can't come out during that time because it might be snowing. Oh, can't come out. So my kids think my dad's afraid of the snow, which is actually kind of hilarious because he's not, but he would prefer not to be in the snow. So just know weather can be a factor as well. Number 3 is the dryness. Yes, the dryness that you will feel here in Utah. For some people, it's a pro. For other people, it is a con. I know my friends that I was recently talking to, they had moved out here from a different state and they were like, Mariah, we love the dry. Like it feels so good. We're not just, we've been in humidity for so long and it feels awesome to not just feel sticky and hot all the time because it is so dry here. So know that because it is dry, you'll probably use a lot more lotion. You'll probably use a lot more chapstick. Your face, your hands, your skin may feel drier than it normally is. But just know, again, for some people, they love that. For others, that's like, oh man, I'd rather have more humidity. So know that going in Utah is dry. Moving right along to the next one is the traffic and congestion. Yes, compared to other places, when a lot of people come here and they're like, Mariah, there's like no traffic here at all. For some people, they're like, oh, we've lived here for 25 years and the traffic here is terrible and all the different stoplights. So a lot of the traffic, again, I think it is perspective from where you're coming from. The traffic here over the years has, risen quite a bit just because there are a lot more people here. But on the I-15, if you are going during rush hour traffic, there's a good chance there are going to be a lot of like slowdowns on the freeway. Same thing when you are going east to west or west to east on the corridors from, in Salt Lake, there can definitely be slowdowns there, but just know it's more than it used to be here. And then last but not least is the cost of living. The cost of living here in Utah has gone up significantly. So for some people, it's a deal breaker because they're like, you know what, I can't afford to live in Utah anymore, simply because the cost of living has gone up here significantly over the last 5-10 years. But for other people that are moving here from some, again, I like to say this is about perspective too, because for some people that are moving here, they're like, Mariah, I can get a house with a basement and a yard and, all this stuff. I just sold my place for, more than I'll be buying, a house here. So again, kind of trade-offs with that and kind of perspectives. So if you are looking at making a move, I know we talked about some of the good, about the education, the culture, the natural beauty, the outdoor activities, the family friendly, the low crime rate. All of those things are big pros for others. But for some people, they're like, the cost of living, it's a deal breaker, or the air quality, I need good air all the time, or, some of those different things. So just know those are some of the good, some of the bad. And if you are thinking about making a move, relocating out here to the Salt Lake City, Utah area, my team and I hear from people like you all the time, and we absolutely love it. So feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and we would love to chat and see how we can help you out. Take care and wishing you a wonderful day. Bye.